Oh, the stress level. Like my first transaction, I just had no idea what I was doing, you know, like, and again, that's the benefit of being on a team, you know, like that's the benefit of having, you know, your team lead, but really everyone else on the team, like to bounce things off of. And not to say like, I called both my brokers all the time, you know, but just because there's so many steps in the purchase agreement, there's so many steps throughout the whole process, right?
My name is Kevin McIntosh, and this is the Closing Table, where we talk to experts about their experience in real estate all across the country. Let's go. Welcome back to the Closing Table. I am your host, Kevin C. McIntosh, and joining us on an in-person, very special episode, we have the pleasure of speaking with Mr. Ryan Richardson. How you doing, Ryan?
What's up, man? How are you?
Good. Happy to have you here, sharing your knowledge with us, have a little bit of fun, and you know, just engaging our audience and things of that nature. So, I like to start things off casual, Ryan.
Sure.
Just a little bit of fun, if you want to call it fun. I have an icebreaker for you. It's called word association. It's exactly what it sounds like. A few words, all related to real estate. I want you to just give me your initial response, reaction to it, whether that's a word, a sentence, definition, story, whatever. You ready?
Sure. Yep.
Cool. First one, title insurance.
Needed by both parties in the state.
Nice. Homeowners insurance.
Good thing to have for everybody.
Homeowners association.
They cover a lot of stuff, but with that, it's a added cost a month.
Land contract.
Riskier for the seller. Good for buyers, depending on what their credit score is and everything, but definitely riskier for seller.
Okay. What about HELOC, home equity line of credit?
Good for homeowners that want to do stuff and, you know, want to pull that equity from their home.
Nice. Last one. I'm interested to hear this. Airbnb.
I hate the cleaning fees. That's the only thing that comes to mind.
That was not the response I was expecting, but that's interesting. Is that you're coming from the consumer part? You don't like it?
Yeah. We went to LA for our anniversary last year, and you pay however much it was. Right. And then we were leaving at like 5:30 in the morning to catch our flight that last day. And they already hit you with the cleaning fee, but then we had to grab our sheets, all the trash, throw it out, all the towels. Like we had to do all the cleaning. So
wow, so that was what they wanted you to. We want you to clean, but we're still going to charge you a cleaning fee. Oh
exactly.
Yeah, how inconvenient.
So whenever I hear Airbnbs, that's the only thing that comes to mind.
Triggered now because of that. All right, Ryan, let's talk about you now. I like to separate the person from the profession. So give us a quick rundown, about 60 seconds. Tell us who you are outside of real estate, please.
Sure. Outside of real estate, so I'm a husband. My wife and I are coming up on 9 years this December.
Congratulations.
And then I got 2 kids, a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. Nice. I do wedding photography, kind of on the side, like a super side. Okay. I like to hang out. We read. I watch way too much of football.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah,
I get it. All right, good. This just lets us know that you're a human outside of being a realtor. Yeah. You know, I like to paint that picture and put that out there. So let's talk about where you serve geographically first and foremost. Can you describe your current market as far as location wise, and then let's get into some of the economics in regards to real estate.
So my company, the brokerage, Real Estate Enthusiast, we're out of Fenton. That's where my office is, but we have offices in Clarkston, Grand Blanc, and Davison as well. Gotcha. Genesee County, and then obviously Clarkston is North Oakland. I personally go all over. I'm from Sanilac County, like up in the thumb.
Okay.
So I have a lot of friends and family out there, so a lot of business gets out there. I've been out in the Lansing area too. I have clients right now up in Bay County, so I go all over.
Right.
But but our offices are Genesee and Oakland.
Let me ask you something that I kind of just thought of. I would only assume that the markets that you're serving is experiencing the same housing shortage that most other markets are. Not all markets are, but I would only assume, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
With that being said, are you seeing more developments happen in those markets, more new constructions, or is there some type of roadblock to that happening?
Yeah, I mean, there's new construction for sure. I just think there's a shortage because the thing that buyers have with new construction is, you might have to wait 8, 9, 10 months, and like no one's good at patience, Right. So
I get it. When you first started real estate, pretty sure your mentality way different from what it is now. Can you just talk about what made you initially make that push to even do, and I hate to say do real estate, but obtain your real estate license?
Yeah.
Well, describe that moment where you said, I want to do this.
Yeah. So back in 2021, I think it was, for a while, we were just kind of messing around from job to job, and I wasn't really sure what real estate, would look like. Right. I like hanging with people and all that stuff. So my wife and I talked about, just giving it a shot. So I called my agent, who's my broker now. Okay. She sent me the online class. So we did that. That was kind of I started in April, I guess passed the test in like June or July, and got licensed in July 21. And
nice.
Yeah, and then from there, I did 6 months of working full time at a different job from like a 7 to 3, and then I can't say like every night, but most nights I'd get home at 3:30, and then about 4:30 I was out and doing showings. Okay. Sometimes going out to Sanilac County, which is like an hour and a half drive for me.
Dedication.
Yeah. So for the first 6 months of my real estate career, that's what I did, was working full time. And then showing a bunch of homes, all that stuff in the evenings or weekends. And then January of 22, we went full time with real estate. Yeah.
You have any you want to speak on any maybe previous occupations that you've held that you feel like maybe some of those skills, knowledge, abilities from that helped you as a real estate agent today?
Yeah. So I think the two that helped. I plumbed for like 9 months. Like I worked at a plumbing company, and I say that like I wasn't good, Okay. I mean, that's why I'm not doing it anymore. But nothing came naturally. But I try to be a sponge during everything. But with that, there's just so much I learned of like, from like mechanical stuff, how things should be ran, also like the life expectancy of some appliances, and
go on.
Kind of all that stuff, especially with first time home buyers, talking to them about like, hey, this is how it should be done. This is something that really isn't that big of a deal, or on the other side, like this needs to be addressed day one.
Right.
And then there's another position that we worked at a nonprofit for a little while, and that kind of, just like the people skills, I guess, helped there, to some extent. But yeah,
those people skills you speak on, I feel like they're undermined because it's a service industry, and you have to have those. You have to be personable. You have to have people skills in order to actually get out there, build those relationships, and get those transactions. So I definitely feel there's a lot more value in that. Yeah. If you ask me personally, you said you work with your wife in regards to your profession right now. Does she help out? Or?
No. She works at home. Okay. With a different company, and then. She's a domestic engineer as well as,
nice.
She stays at home and she solves problems with our kids.
Domestic engineer. I love the way you said that. I'm looking like, oh, nice. Where'd you go to school for that?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So, and I pointed that out because I don't think I've heard you use terms in regards to having a team. So you're currently working solo?
Yep.
That's a little bit different. So most people, agents that I speak with, some of them are working in teams. Can you speak on why it's better for you to work solo as opposed to on the team?
Yeah. Not to sound greedy or anything, but But just financially, the team structure just never, for us, especially when we were starting, just never made sense, right? Because you have a cap, and then you have a broker cap, and then you also have a team cap, right? So like we looked at it of like, okay, if we do this closing, this is how much we make on our own, but this is how much we can make on a team, and it's significantly different, right? So when I first started in real estate, again, those first 6 months, we didn't touch anything that I made. It just all went into savings just to be able to go full time. And then since we made it full time, I guess down the road, my wife got a job, but especially starting off, it was just me, right? So like the whole goal was to make this the full-time gig for us. And in order to do that, it was just all about, I got to do it on my own, and I got to, work my butt off to try to be able to stay afloat,
Right. Yeah. That speaks.
But sorry, I don't have anything against teams per se. Like it's teams can be really beneficial if to get leads, or just to if you have a bunch of questions, which I did. I had a ton of questions that I bugged my brokers to no end with. But yeah, just like financially, the team structure didn't make sense for us.
Yeah, and that's a very honest thing for you to speak on. And I think that speaks to you knowing yourself and knowing your brand and knowing what's best for it also. Like you feel you're better off in a position working by yourself and I'm glad you stated the disclaimer, that not to seem selfish or anything that, but it's part of the business. It's part of the business, the bottom line and things of that nature, and the sacrifice you have to make with putting the money up for 6 months and things of that nature. So thank you for speaking on that first and foremost. You shared a text of a listing agent impressed with your diligence.
Oh, shoot, yeah.
Can you speak on what you did to get recognized for your work for your clients, and what did you learn from that situation?
Yeah. So these clients are out in Lapeer, and they love this house, right? So like we go and look at it, and long story short, we found out that they accepted a different offer. So I'm texting the other agent like, okay, what's the contingencies? And it's just on inspection. So inspection was on like a Monday, right? So I'm texting him on Saturday and Sunday like, okay, inspection's still there? Yeah, inspection's still there. And then Monday night or Tuesday night comes around, and I text him again. It's like, hey, man, I'm not trying to bug you to no end, but like, are they out or whatever else? And that's when he texts me back of like, hey, we're all good, but I appreciate your diligence. Like share this with your guys to make sure that like, that they know who's working for them. So, yeah, I mean, to me, I just view it, especially as working with buyers, or even when I work with sellers, but whoever you work with, like, man, if they like that house, if they want that house, like, I want to at least get a foot in that door, So like, if I have to be annoying as an agent from realtor to realtor, then okay, peg me as annoying. But like, my guys love the house, At the end of the day, if you don't take our offer, then that's fine. But like, we at least want to put an offer on the table, just to see if we can dance together, Yeah.
I love that, man. When I saw that, I said, the average person would think you were annoying. Yeah. But that's persistence.
I am annoying.
In a good way, though. There's a such thing as good annoying. And that's what I see that as. Like, you were very persistent in following up and making sure, they had everything. If there's, can we be your backup type of thing? Even though, you kind of knew that they were in a position to almost close. You're like, hey, listen, I mean, just in case,
and then going back to your clients and like not promising them the world, like being, I guess handling the situation in the sense of like, hey, listen, they're already under contract, like the chances of us getting this place is probably slim, but I'm going to give every effort I can to get us, to get us in the door, but don't hold your breath, So like my clients understood that like, I was working on their behalf, but like we were looking elsewhere. But then the agent also knew that like, hey, my guys are really serious. They're, more than qualified, yada, yada, yada. Right. So if it falls through, like save my number. I want to be the first guy you call.
Right. Love that. Yeah. So, I mean, that type of quality you want all of your real estate agents, but the fact that agent saw that and said, hey, you know what? we're good. But tell your actual clients that they chose the right one. Love that, man.
Yeah, and I don't want to like just harp on this, I guess, but like for me, it was actually really flattering when he sent that text back, just because of, you know, I mean, real estate is such a competitive industry.
Ego driven too.
Yeah, and very ego driven. So like to hear that from another agent of saying like, hey, like, you know, I'm really impressed. Like share this with your guys to make sure that they're working with like with a good one, you know, like hearing that from someone in the same industry was great. And then my second thought was, oh hell, I'm gonna make this into a graphic and post it too.
You did. That was perfect. Nice. But that's, and this is what I found out. Agents would post when a home is sold for proof of success.
Right.
And that right there is proof of, I don't even know what I would put it as, but it's proof of persistence, it's proof of character, it's proof of, you know, just showing the work ethic that you have. So I love that. Some people also, may even find something wrong with that, but I think that was perfect.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. It's also like the consistency. I mean, you know, now like if we talk about like social media, you know, and I'm not a like Facebook guru, but like the consistency there, right?
Oh,
so like if you do real estate, everyone that you know, like in Michigan or wherever someone's at, like needs to know you do it, you know? Sure. So like I'll post all the time about like showing Fenton, showing Grand Blanc, right? Like I just to like keep it out there, you know? And it's not all successes, you know, there's times where deals fall through. So you kind of post about that of, hey, listen, like I'm still the guy to use, you know, to help navigate through the ups and even in the downs.
Correct.
You know?
Correct. Beautiful. Speaking of ups and downs, helping with your clients. I know you've dealt with all different types of situations. You probably had smooth transactions all the way to probably the worst kinds. Yeah. Let's speak on some of the worst kinds.
Oh, good.
But first, starting off with you helping a client that may have not approached you with a pre-approval already. They don't know where to go. Yeah. How do you help them go from no pre-approval at all to getting pre-approved all the way to closing?
Yeah. So, I mean, if someone comes to me and they just want to buy a house, you know, like we first talk about like, you know, kind of what they're looking for, where they want to be. And then we get to the financial side of it. And if they're not pre-approved, like I have a couple of lenders that I love working with, I send them their way. Cause I know they're going to take care of my clients. They're going to, you know, they're going to bend over backwards to make the deal done just as I would. So that's kind of like the initial start, you know? And I'll always give my lenders a call and kind of like, hey, you know, person X is going to give you a call, and this is kind of like where they're at, you know, This is what they're wanting. So, you know, we got to make something work, you know?
Gotcha. Can you, a unique situation where maybe the transaction didn't go through by any chance? You had some hiccups throughout the process and it kind of like dissolved the transaction. Have you had any of those?
Yeah, of course.
Oh man, please share, please. Oh my goodness.
So I had listed a manufactured home out in North Branch. So this is like up in the thumb. So I had the list side, and then the buyers came and they came with me, and they were with, long story short, they were pre-approved with one of their parents signing on and everything else.
Okay.
So it's an FHA mortgage. So FHA with the manufactured home is already, you know, sometimes can be tricky, but there's 3 wells on the property. We had to prove, you know, that this house wasn't moved because of different regulations. And then at the end of it all, I mean, this was just like this 5-6 week long process of going back and forth and calling counties and everything else to get, you know, all the documents that we need. Right. And we had everything set, and then the buyers, because of personal reasons, they had to back out. So, so that was, you know, that was difficult. Yeah. But I mean, for them, you know, knowing their reasonings, it, you know, it made sense. And then having to give the seller a call and kind of explain that to her, because she was kind of nervous at the whole transaction before, you know. Yeah. A few years before that, she had listed with a different agent, and it didn't go smoothly, so she had a bad taste in her mouth. So I come in, you know, confident and, you know, promising the world, and then it falls apart, you know. So that was a tough pill to swallow. But thankfully, you know, she still trusted me. She still like was happy with me. We relisted, and then within like 5 days later, we got an offer that was 5,000 over the other offer. And then we closed smoothly, 4 weeks after that. So, so it dissolved, and it was this, it was just like a roller coaster, but I guess in the end, it still worked out,
What did you learn from that?
A lot. I mean, there's a lot of technicalities that I learned, but then just the practical, like, just kind of keeping your cool, like when it hits the fan, because it inevitably will hit the fan,
yes, it will.
like remaining calm, even if you're freaking out, you can't let your clients see that you're freaking out, right? Yeah. Like behind closed doors, I might have, lost some sleep or whatever else. But yeah, just showing your showing your confidence to your clients, that like, hey, we can figure this out, one way or the other, and then, one way or the other figuring it out.
Yeah. You have any other unexpected obstacles that you had to overcome throughout a transaction? Anyone that may stick out by any chance besides that?
Nothing that sticks out, incredibly off the top of my head. I mean, there's always inspections, and inspections is always kind of like, all right, well, let's, like, there are some issues, but if y'all are still interested in the house, like, we can find a way to compromise with the other side of it, to still get this thing going, and that's the negotiation part of just figuring it out, like, what my buyers need compared to what your sellers need, like where's the common ground. But.
Okay. Building a rapport with your clients, very important.
Yeah.
Right? Even after the closing.
Yeah.
I see that you send your clients happy home anniversary cards a year after they close. Yeah. What inspired you to start doing that? And what other ways do you kind of stand out from your competition?
I mean, I think it's just like the personal aspect, right? So like all those cards are handwritten. I give a gift, and then there's like a handwritten card out at closing too. But like it's all handwritten, just because. I guess the best way to put it is like, I'm trying to be successful in this as I can, but it's not lost on me that it's because of everyone else I partner with, whether that's past and current clients or future clients or like lenders, title, everyone involved, right? So like when it comes to a year, especially for the buyers, like sometimes, man, it takes so long to find something because of the market or because of, this or that, So when we hit that year mark, like, hey, let's celebrate, right? So I'll write them a card, and then I always throw like a little lotto ticket, just because it's something silly, something fun, hell, if you win, awesome, but yeah, it's just like, hey, like congrats again. I loved our time together, here's a lotto ticket. I hope you win big, but yeah, it's just kind of, like I said, more personable, and just to, I just want to be friends with people, like I don't want this to just be like, just a profession or just a career, whatever else. Like I obviously I want to be successful and continue in this career, but I also want to, like, have buds everywhere and know that they got a friend in me too.
There you go. You go. The awkwardness would be is if you get one of your clients a lotto ticket and they hit big, and then they buy a mansion and go with somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Ryan. Do you have anybody that can help us buy a mansion?
Yeah, I should put a disclaimer. Win big. I hope you win big. But if you do, and then you're looking at selling and rebuying, right. I'm not changing my number.
It'd be so awkward. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah,
I get it.
That would keep me up at night.
Right. Do you have, since we were talking about closing, do you have any gifts that you give your clients after closing, or is there any elaborate gift that you've ever given to someone? And piggybacking off that, if not you, what's the most elaborate gift you've seen an agent give a client after closing?
Okay. No, the gifts I give, like, range, just I have clients right now that I have a note on my phone of different things that they said that they like, that I don't want to forget, because I know when we close, hey, I want to get you these things, right? Like, again, to make it more personal, right? So like the gifts I give tends to change per client, because, some people really like this or really, or really don't like that, so obviously I don't want to want to do that. But I think the most elaborate, I don't even think it's elaborate, but I think it's just a really cool gift that there's an agent in my company that she'll get these champagne bottles, and it has like our logo on it, and it has her name and number on it, and she gives that as a gift. And I've always loved that idea.
Is it an empty champagne bottle?
No,
I'm just just a bottle.
She drinks it all. No. But what I do, like, so I like that idea, but I didn't want to like just completely copy her. So, and I do this like with like engagements that I might shoot too, but like when we close on a house, we'll go to that house like right after closing, and then we pop open like a couple bottles of champagne as like a celebratory thing. And I only started doing that like probably the last half of 22. So anyone that closed with me before then, I'm sorry.
I know, right? Where's our champagne?
But so that's another like fun celebratory thing, you know, nice. Like, and then like, you know, that night or the next day I send them the photos, and, you know, they can print or download or do it. Yeah. Whatever they want.
So to clarify, you aren't buying furniture for your clients. No furniture. Okay.
No,
just to let you all know that there's no furniture.
No lazy boys for me. Right. Sorry about it.
But I like that. You say, so you're talking to your clients throughout the process. They mentioned, we love this kitchen. We will have to buy like a Swiffer to keep up with this hardwood. Yeah. You're thinking, okay, let me write Swiffer down, right? And I'll get them a Swiffer. Right. Okay.
Or like if the clients have like dogs and they like, you know, like some people like love their dogs, right? Like, which is great. I mean, you should, you know, but so yeah, like getting gifts that are more tailored to them, right? So if they have dogs or they have kids, or if they're really into something and you know they're really into it, you know, like. Yeah, again, it's not just like a simple like, hey, thanks for using me, but it's like I really do appreciate it, you know.
And that means you pay attention too. Yeah. You pay attention to details and stuff like that. Something I'm not good at.
There's like a million different reelers out there, right? Yeah. Like even in the areas that I'm at, there's tons, right? So like, how can I separate myself from them, you know? And again, because it's competition, but also like, hey, I hope you enjoyed your time, like not just trying to find a house, but enjoyed your time with me. Because sometimes, man, we look for a week and we go under contract, and other times we look for 9 months, right? But yeah, it's just for me, it all comes back to the like togetherness, to the personableness, you know, if you can say that. But
no, we can say that here.
Yeah.
we make words up at the closing table sometimes. Random question.
Yeah.
What do you feel like was the main difference between your first transaction and your most recent one?
Oh, the stress level. Like my first transaction, I just had no idea what I was doing, you know, like, and again, that's the benefit of being on a team, you know, like that's the benefit of having, you know, your team lead, but really everyone else on the team, like to bounce things off of. And not to say like, I called both my brokers all the time, you know, but just because there's so many steps in the purchase agreement, there's so many steps throughout the whole process, right? And then when your clients would ask you, like before my first transaction, like I'd only bought my own home, you know, I hadn't bought numerous times or sold numerous times, right? So it was just like the stress level of that compared to my last transaction. Like every deal is different. Every deal brings their own, you know, issues or own roadblocks, right? But after doing it and after, you know, going through different situations, like the stress level, at least for me, is significantly less. There's still stress, you know, like there definitely is still stress, but it's not like it's not a panic, you know, it's just a stress of like, okay, well, how can we make this work for everybody, you know?
Time of reflection now, Ryan. Looking back on your career.
That was the time of
I know, reflection. Right? Looking back on your career, what would you say was an important lesson that you learned about yourself, the industry, and the importance of serving others?
Oh, geez. About myself, the industry. I have these clients. We were just texting this morning or last night, but we stay in touch pretty regularly. But I knew their position financially wasn't the best, you know, like we really were looking for like 9 or 10 months before we actually closed. And and they kept getting discouraged. They were first time home buyers. They were really nervous from the very beginning, and they just happened to find me, like, I think on Facebook, you know. I learned a lot with that. Like, I think the biggest thing is like, you cannot view others as a paycheck or as a commission.
Yes,
like
yes,
the second you do that, you need to find something else, right? Because then you aren't representing your sellers or your buyers in the right way or the ethical way. You know, like at the end of the day, everybody needs to be taken care of the way that I would want to be taken care of, right? Sure. So like with these guys that we looked for so long, like there were some homes I told them don't make an offer, you know, because it's going to be stretching your budget, right? Because like after the year when the taxes get raised because of the transaction, your mortgage is going to go up, and and that's going to be stressful in a year from now, right? So yeah, I think being in this industry, and there's a lot of good realtors out there that do care for their agents as well. But I think for me, it's like, again, like you can't allow yourself to just look at the numbers or just look at a paycheck, you know, or whatever that might look like, right? Like, you got to take care of your clients first and foremost.
Right. You've brought up the word stress a lot.
Oh man,
I want to talk about that.
Okay.
How do you deal with stress? How do you manage stress that comes along in your personal and professional life?
It's a really good question.
I took it there.
Very good question. Yeah, I mean, I have my wife, and then I have a couple close friends that I talk with, and like my best friend, we talk every Friday night or Saturday morning. He lives down in Georgia, and I mean, we don't just talk about work, you know, like we typically don't. But the times that I'm really stressed out, you know, talking to like I said, my wife, my friends about it, you know, just kind of taking a second, you know, a step back of what's going on, and just like, okay, yeah, everything will be fine. You know, it's a work in progress, right? Like, it's really easy to say that here, you know, but yeah, I think just taking a little bit of time away to you know, either drop everything for a minute or kind of talk about it with you know, someone that's not directly involved.
Right. I agree. And I asked that question, you know, that stuck out to me when you were mentioning it. I get it. Agents, you deal with a lot. You're making your own schedule. You're dealing with different personalities from both clients and other agents.
Right.
So I can understand the stress that can go along with that. So I don't think that's necessarily talked about enough, especially not here on the closing table. So I want to shed some light on that, because those are part of the downs. We could talk about the ups of being a real estate agent all day, but those are part of the downs. So I just want to shed light on that.
I love what I do. Like I really do love what I do, but I haven't ever had a position before. And I mean, I'm 29, you know, I haven't lived forever, you know, but I haven't had a position before that was even close to the amount of stress that this has, you know? So like, there's definitely, you know, trade-offs there, right? Like, and you know, a trade-off of doing real estate, especially doing it full time, is like, you have no weekend, you know, like there's clients that, like, they're working all the time. So Saturdays and Sundays are their time to go, right? And you have other clients that they can only do evenings. So like evenings are showing homes, and then Saturdays and Sundays you're showing homes with the other clients, right? But as much as like, as stressful as it can be at times, or as busy as it can be, like I said, like I just love what I do, you know, like on multiple levels. Like I love it. I enjoy it, you know. You take the good with the bad.
Yes. And that was well said right there. I appreciate you for saying that. Well, thank you so much, Ryan, pulling up to the closing table. We definitely do appreciate that. Right now, before we go, if you have any last words and or want to tell the people how to reach out to you, please do so now.
Yeah. Again, my name is Ryan Richardson. You can find me on Facebook, Ryan Richardson - the brokerage, or even my personal page, just Ryan Richardson. My number is 989-721-5860. That thing's out there everywhere, so it doesn't matter at this point anyway. But yeah, I'd love to work with y'all.
Absolutely. Thank you again for pulling up a chair, coming here to the closing table in person, by the way. For our YouTube audience watching right now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, please do us both a favor, hit that like button. We appreciate it. Make sure you also share the content and subscribe to our channel. And if you are listening on Apple, Spotify, or any other podcast platforms, please do the same. Give us a like, a 5-star rating, and subscribe for our latest content. Ryan, I'm going to leave our audience with a question before they leave out the door, if you don't mind. Hey, audience, how often does your real estate agent reach out to you after the closing, and do you find any value in the reasons that they reach out? Don't tell us now. Leave it in the comments below. Besides that, talk to you next time.